Yes, Satish. Do you have any questions on this shloka?
No, sir.
All right. So, what did you understand from whatever we discussed so far?
Uh, sir, sir, I can tell it later.
Okay, at the end, will you tell?
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. Then let us hear to what is the question Namit has.
Sir,
What is your question, Namit?
sir, I didn't understand what is the meaning of I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Okay. So, here I is referred to Krishna. So, Krishna is telling Arjuna. What is that Krishna is telling Arjuna? Arjuna, I am in all beings. So Krishna here is not restricted to the picture that we see of the Krishna. Krishna here is the divine presence, the divine light of the self.
Atma Jyoti.
So what is Krishna saying to Arjuna? Krishna is telling to Arjuna, when someone is involved in selfless offerings, in yajna, and when their mind is purified, then I help them to realize the truth about this existence. They come to me, means what? They realize what is their true nature. So they realize, who am I truly? So it is not a matter of just saying that I am the divine light of the self. That is the fundamental fact of life. And that has to become one's own inner clarity, inner conviction. When that becomes their own inner conviction, no more any kind of doubts or questions will be there.
Sir, what is conviction?
Conviction means clarity. See, for example, how many fingers do you have?
I have 5 fingers in each hand. And totally in both the hands, I have 10 fingers.
Wonderful. Now, is this something that I have to tell you, or do you know by yourself?
Now I know by myself.
Excellent. Is that also something if I come and say, no, Namit, that is wrong. You have only 2 fingers. Will you agree with me?
No, sir, I can show you that I have 5 fingers. I can count and tell this is 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. How are you able to do all this?
Because I have learned about it.
You not only learned about it, you know it, right? You know.
Yeah.
Look, I can see. It's in your own experience.
Yeah.
Or if I ask you, Namit, mango taste is actually very, very bitter. Mango tastes like bitter gourd. So never eat mangoes. If I say like that, will you agree with me?
No, sir, mango is so sweet.
How do you know?
Because I have eaten it.
Excellent. See, now I cannot shake your understanding. Do you have 5 fingers or 10 fingers? I cannot shake that understanding. I cannot confuse you. I cannot confuse you by saying that mango is bitter. Because you know it. You have experienced it.
Yeah.
Now you will tell me with conviction, means you will have that inner clarity and courage to say, no, sir, don't you understand? I have seen 5 here, 5 here, 10 fingers. You will prove me. Correct? That is conviction. Conviction is something that comes out of your own inner clarity, deeper inner clarity, inner understanding. For example, should one cheat in exams and get good marks?
No, sir, he or she should not do that, then they are only cheating themselves. Even though the teacher doesn't know, or the teacher doesn't see by chance the teacher doesn't see what they're doing and they copy or cheat, then they are cheating themselves. In the future, they won't know about that topic.
Excellent. So now what you said is coming out of your own inner clarity and conviction, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, now nobody can come and shake you. Somebody cannot come and say, hey, Namit, it's okay, let's cheat here, da. Let's get good marks, da. Because you have inner clarity now. You will not be shaken. So that is conviction, your own inner clarity.
Yeah, we get marks, but we don't understand the topic.
Now do you get what is the meaning of conviction?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Let's go to Manya.
Hari Om Vijayji.
Hari Om Manya. Yeah, go ahead and please ask your question.
So recently I was just reading about Bhairavi Atna and how Lord Bhairava he liberates us from all our bad karmas. And actually he lets us pass through this good karma also in such a way that those people who leave their body in Kashi, then their soul goes through Bhairava Yatana, which means their entire so many lifetimes they experience it just around 40 seconds. So they feel extremely painful things happening within themselves, and that's very unbearable. But that's when a question popped up, like then why do everybody want to they want to travel to Kashi? So that's when I came to know that these bad karmas, whatever is our sufferings, that what Lord Bhairava is allowing, Kala Bhairava is allowing us to experience in 40 seconds after passing away in Kashi, the kind of suffering is divided in so many lifetimes, and we keep experiencing that. So then that is the same thing we will be experiencing in hell according to some ideologies. So is there really a place called hell and heaven?
All right. So let me ask you one simple question. So for example, let's say you're fighting with one of your friends. Let's say one of your friend has come and shouted at you, and she or he has called you by some name that you don't like. How does that feeling how is that feeling for you? Is it a nice feeling?
No, not really.
Okay,
You
now
feel
let's
hurt.
say, sorry, go ahead.
We feel hurt.
You feel hurt and you feel irritated, or you could also be feeling very sad. You feel,
Yes.
oh, how come I trusted my friend, and how come he or she is doing like this? All these various feelings come.
Yes.
When you are in such feelings, the way you feel about the life, is it nice or not nice?
Not nice.
Not nice. Okay. Now let us take another situation. Let's say you're walking on the road, and there is some dog that comes to you. You feel that the dog hasn't eaten for many days, and you offer some food, and the dog is wagging the tail and very happily eating the food. In that moment, how do you feel?
Good. Very like there's some kind of pleasure.
Pleasure. Excellent. Now, what is the idea of a place called Swarga? Swarga is a place where there is no misery, where there is no ill feeling, where it's all about togetherness. It's about love. Then what is the idea of a hell? Hell is a place where there is feeling of illness, feeling of hurt, where there is torture, killing. All these are the places, all these are the feelings associated with hell. So now tell me, is it possible for you to make your own life either a living hell or a living heaven when you are here and now?
Yes. Mostly.
And if given a choice, what is that you would like for yourself and around you?
Heaven.
Excellent. That's all the real answer is. So the real answer is, right now, based on your experience of life, the place where you are, you have complete choice and freedom to make it a living hell or a living heaven. So how can you make life a living heaven?
Living heaven by doing so actually there's different kinds of pleasures, but as far as I know, you get you experience the extreme kind of happiness and ecstasy when you help others, that is performing the 5 types of yajnas. The others give you they also give you some happiness, but you don't feel that level of happiness when you help others or do things which are related to Krishna.
Right. So that's why again and again, these great masters and their message is what we have to keep remembering. So now, for a moment, just look at the life of any of these great masters here. For more than, say, some 30, 40 years now, each one of them have been serving relentlessly. But do you ever find any one of them, sitting and crying? Around them, do you feel people to be shouting and angry and feeling, "Ayo, miserable"? How is the place around them?
It's very peaceful, and you can feel something. You feel those good vibes, and you feel like staying there for even longer time.
Excellent. Now, can we say that around them, life has become a living heaven?
Yes, it has.
So now, in whose control making the life a living heaven is?
In my control.
That's all. So, is there a place after death called heaven or hell? That's a totally different question altogether. Now, now those who have been there, all right, haven't necessarily come back to tell us, "Hey, I got into heaven or hell." But one thing I and you know for sure is, when I am feeling angry, when I'm feeling upset, when I'm feeling irritated, when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling jealous, those are all the feelings I don't like. And I'm pretty sure you also don't like.
No.
Yeah. What is the feeling that you like, that I like? The feeling of togetherness, love, compassion, each other helping each other, energy, creativity, isn't it?
Yes.
So, therefore, heaven is actually here on the earth. And here and now, right around us. So, therefore, for me, heaven is here. And I have the responsibility to make my mind a living heaven, first and foremost. because it is in my mind, I can feel hell or I can feel heaven. So I have to, first of all, therefore, make my mind a living heaven. That's what Krishna is telling us here again. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love. Why again and again Krishna is telling this? Because the attitude that I carry in life, with that attitude, my mind either can become disturbed or can be peaceful. When you are really feeling peaceful, happy, wonderful, do you really worry about another place called heaven or hell?
No.
You are so happy in that moment, isn't it?
Yes.
Ah.
Just want to live the moment and think about nothing else. Just want to stay there and enjoy and experience it.
Excellent. So Krishna is giving us that path here. Krishna is giving the path to the freedom. All right. So, and
Yes.
Krishna is saying, you'll come to me only. Meaning what? There is no more heaven or hell. Because heaven or hell is still a matter of the mind, where it is saying something is good, something is bad. So Krishna is asking us to go beyond all these distinctions. Viveka Vairagya. So these Lakshmis have to develop in our mind through selfless service. When these Lakshmis develop in our mind, you then transcend beyond the limitations of the heaven or the hell. So it doesn't mean that, in and around you, situations will all be always nice to you, always will be in favor of you. Irrespective of how they are, your inner peace will never be disturbed. Because your true nature is that of Krishna, the divine light of the self, which is eternally peaceful, eternally blissful, eternally infinite. So you are beyond heaven and hell. Is this bringing clarity, Manya?
Yes, Vijayji, it is.
Yeah. So therefore, when you read something like that, so now let's talk about Kashi. What is truly Kashi? Kashi, people used to say, go to Kashi and you will find mukti, or go to Kashi and you will find freedom. It is like this. Somebody comes and says, I don't know the answer. Let's say there is a mathematical question or a science question. And another fellow says, hey, go and find it in Google. You'll find all the answers. So they go and search Google. They may find or they may not find some answer. But let's say if they found an answer, then they will feel that, oh my God, Google is so wise, right?
Yes.
So the fact that you have a computer and it is connected to internet, and then there is something called Google, when that is known to you, then only the computer is of value, isn't it?
Yes.
Now let us take the same example to Kashi. So Kashi is a place. So now you go to a place called Kashi. You take a dip in a river called Ganga, and you go to a temple, and you eat some prasadam, and you come back. Will that truly help you? No.
No, not really.
When you go to Kashi, you have a great chance of meeting a very wise and a soul who has already become free. There's a very good chance that in a place like Kashi, you would have an opportunity to meet a person who has transcended the limitations of being a person, which is what? That you may be lucky enough to meet a true realized Guru. So it is not the place that helps you to be liberated. It is the presence and the jnana and the discussion with a guru that helps you to come out of the limitations of the mind. So then where is truly Kashi? Wherever there is a realized being, that is Kashi. Then what is the Ganga that our Rishis are asking us to take a dip in? It is the Jnana Ganga with the realized beings. That is why Shiva is shown with the Ganga coming out of his head. It's a symbol. Shiva is a symbol of the true Guru, Adi Guru. And the Ganga that is coming out of his head is a symbol of the knowledge that is coming out of him, the realization that is coming out of him. And when you come in touch with that realization, how it can purify you, not physically, but in the mind, how it can remove all doubts, all confusions. Because you are already the divine light of the self. Only in the mind, you get into some questions and confusion. So that question and confusion has to be removed. And that can happen only in the presence of a true realized master. So the Kashi that helps you to really find the mukti is not the place called Kashi. It is anywhere where there is a realized master. But in the olden days, Kashi used to be a great place of knowledge, spiritual knowledge, wonderful spiritual knowledge. It's much like, for example, in Bangalore, if you go to a place called Tindi Street, it is near Lal Bagh, you will find series of small hotels where you will find various kinds of tindi. Idli, vada, sambar, masala dosa, then uppittu, like that, hundreds of vendors will be there, all in one place. Or think of a mall. You go to a mall and you will find various things. A toy shop, clothes shop, book shop, guitar shop, movie, all in one place. So Kashi used to be a place like that. But it is not the physical place that matters. It is the presence of the Guru in your life that matters. Okay, that is the second question you had. Then the third part to the question about within the first 40 seconds, somebody going through all the pain. Again, who goes through the pain? The one who has not yet realized what is their true nature. The one who hasn't yet become free by the true jnana. Only in such a mind there is still, oh, I am this body and I am this mind, confusion. So then whatever the impressions they have in their mind, that becomes magnified at the time of death. If somebody is very, very attached to food and money, then that is all they're thinking constantly in their life. Then that is what gets magnified in their life at the moment of the death. Say, for example, they're always afraid, I have so much of money, what if somebody comes and snatches it away? Then that fear, that sense of fear is what has deeply got ingrained into their mind. So now that's all they can feel. Then their mind will not feel peaceful with the presence of the divine. That is why great gurus constantly ask us, when you're born in the human body, it's a great, great, great privilege. Only in the human life can you find the truth about you. So please do not misuse this opportunity. Please use this opportunity for your own freedom. Become a Jivan Mukta, become a Sthita Prajna. Otherwise, you'll go through this cycle of birth and death, going through heaven and hell. Punarapi jananam, puranapi maranam. Punarapi janani jhatare shayanam. So what is the way out? Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrunkarane. Meaning, when the time of death is near you, all your books, all your gatherings will not help you. What you have realized about your own true self, only that comes into your rescue. That's why Krishna is again, see here, what is he saying? Arjuna, do whatever you're doing as a selfless offering. Then as a boon, as a gift, as a response to that, you will be bestowed with the realization of who you are. And only that can set you free. So is this all clearer now?
Yes, Vijayji, it is.
Any other
I
questions?
have one more doubt.
Yeah.
Like this rebirth is like studying this entire day, and tomorrow morning waking up with nothing, nothing in the head, like it's forgetting. Is it not the same way? Like now, maybe I've learned the essence of Bhagavad Gita, or in a few, like after a few years, maybe I'll also be able to learn who I really am. I might realize most of the things, and I might have learned, let's say, 60% of the truth of life. But like in my next birth, am I going to forget all of it, and I will not be able to? How am I going to redo it?
So, okay, there are two distinct questions here. So first, let us address the, will I forget? Like any other subject, will I forget? Okay. So what Krishna, that's why already says in Bhagavad Gita is, Arjuna, when you make any effort in the direction of self-realization, what is self-realization? Is knowing about who am I truly? And what is this world? What is my connection to this world? The answer to these questions is the most fundamental questions and the most fundamental realization one can have in life. So any effort in that direction, it can also be called as God realization. So any effort in the direction of God realization, Krishna says, will never go waste. See, to come into contact with Bhagavad Gita itself, to come into contact with the realized master like our Prabhuji, it is not an ordinary thing. For example, in India itself, there is 1.3 billion people. Out of 1.3 billion people, okay, let's forget India. Let's only talk about Bangalore. Bangalore might have at least, say, 10 crore plus people. Out of 10 crore plus people, how many have come to hear about Prabhuji, his teachings, and have found that that is the most important thing in their life? Very few. Why is that? Because there is a certain merit that is needed to come into contact with a guru. See, for example, you may say, I want to go to IIT. Will they let everybody into IIT?
No.
You should have done the proper work. Only then can an entry be given to IIT. Likewise, life is very, very fair. It's all the good things that you've done in the past that bears fruit for you now. So never have a doubt. Whatever is happening in your life is all because of whatever that has happened in the past. Only when you put a seed can it bear a fruit. So therefore, Krishna is again and again asking us to dedicate ourselves to do anything as a selfless offering. Because the more we dedicate ourselves like that, the more we 100% get involved, start seeing the divine in each and every step of our way, in each and every one around us, our mind naturally becomes calm and the right answer and the right guidance comes to you. So that is the answer to the first question, which is, will I forget whatever effort I have made here? No, not at all. Krishna assures that you will not forget, because unlike other subjects, this is not an ordinary knowledge. This is the knowledge about you. So you will not forget. See, you are just in 10th grade. Already you are asking these fundamental questions. Just look around. How many even grown-ups, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, how many of them are asking these questions? So it is your good merit that has brought you into the company of great masters like the Light of the Self Foundation and Prabhuji, and all this Jnana doesn't come to everyone. All right. So that is the first. Then there's another aspect. So one day I will realize. So what is that I have to realize? So that one day I will realize. Where is that? Who is saying that one day I will realize? Somewhere in the mind, there is a question sitting there. And that question is saying, no, I have not yet realized. And that question is saying, oh, I still need to find. So all your efforts are to be guided at, who am I? Who is the one who's asking these questions constantly? Who is saying that I need to realize? So just be in that contemplation, be in that direction, go inward deeply. So you'll find that you have never been away from the divine. That's why the greeting is, I bow down to the divine light of the self. I'm not bowing down to this body called Manya. I'm bowing down to the divine in Manya. And right now, I'm referring to it as Manya. You are the divine light of the self. You are not this, what you see from outside. You are the divine awareness. So you have never been away from the divine. It's only in the mind that, I feel I've been away. It's like, for example, saying that, can you ever be away from the space around you? Is there any place where there is no space?
No.
No. So it's only in the mind I may feel, I was in Mysore, now I'm in Bangalore. Che, I've left that. But what is Mysore? What is Bangalore? What is Hubli? What is Dharwada? What is India? What is America? It's all different shapes and forms, but all in the space. So likewise, you're always with the divine, in the divine. You are the divine. So the only thing that you have to eliminate is all these questions and confusions. All right. So these questions is what brings this distance, the feeling that, oh, I still have a distance to go.
Yes. Now I got it, Vijayaji. Like now I got this clarity kind of thing.
That
But
is why one of the analogy you can keep in mind is you are this diamond,
Mhm.
but only thing is, there is some, it's like, how do you find diamond in the earth? It is always embedded within coal. When you look at it, it feels like it's coal, black, dirty, oh, it's just coal. But deep
Yes.
within that, there is already a diamond. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not making you a diamond. Krishna is reminding you, you are a diamond. Why are you unnecessarily confusing yourself as a coal? You're not the coal. You are the diamond. So just drop the idea that you are the coal. That's all that is necessary.
Yes, Vijayji. No, I got it.
All right. Any other questions?
No, Vijayji. That's it.
All right. Is
Thank
there
you,
anyone else who
Vijayji.
has, what is that, Manya?
Thank you, Vijayji.
Does anyone else have any other question? All right. Then may I listen to what you understood, starting from Atish. Atish?
Sir, I understood that. Sir, I'm still thinking.
Okay, all right. I'll come back to you. Who would like to express next? Yes, Namit, go ahead.
Should I tell about the shloka or about what you answered for Manya?
You can tell about both the things.
Okay, first I'll tell about the shloka. So, sir, what I understood from the shloka is whoever always are devoted to Lord, like it doesn't always like need to be like keeping the photo, keeping the photo and praying. If they help others with the pancha yagnas or the 5 great services. Those are Deva Yagna, Bhuta Yagna, Manushya Yagna, Pitru Yagna, Rishi Yagna. Then they're helping God, and they're helping God. So whoever help others, they'll gain punya.
And what does that punya actually help you in? That punya helps your mind to eliminate any kind of disturbance.
Sir, so can we tell it as Viveka?
When the mind is clean, when the mind is not disturbed, then Viveka can function clearly.
Okay.
It is like, if the mind is completely disturbed, you don't know what is going on. Only when the water is very still and not moving, can you see. Otherwise, if the water is moving up and down, let's say in a small lake, you cannot see. It feels very disturbed.
Okay, sir. Sir, and also you have given that it purifies the mind.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Sir,
Panchamahayagna purifies the mind, and in the purified mind, you can clearly realize about your true nature and the nature of the world.
Yeah, we feel blissful after doing that.
Yes.
Sir, and what I understood from your answer for Manya's question is that so Swarga and Naraka, if we see in the physical level, it's true that there is that a place called Swarga Narka, like how there's a place like Bangalore, Mysore, and all. Even there's a place, but Swarga in this world only we can see. If there is a place filled with happiness, then we can say it as Swarga. And if there is people are feeling that hurt or pain, so then we can say as Narka. So I understood that not only the Swarga and Narka which we say, that there is in above in the sky and all. Even that's true, but if we look from the spiritual level, Swarga and Narka is there in this world itself. That's what I understood.
Correct. It's just within our mind. As far as whether it is above the sky or below the sky, that is hard to prove. So therefore, what is definitely in our experience, we can make this a living hell or a living heaven. And when I have a choice, what I like, I need to be very, very clear. And how to make that living heaven here? And answer is very simple. See, why masters say do service, why 5 great services, is because when you are in the service, when you are offering, there is no more any kind of less or lacking. So mind is naturally peaceful. So then this feels like a wonderful place. And this is the wonderful place. This is the divine place.
Yeah.
Because this is the play of the divine only.
Yeah. But what we see, in what we have read and all, it's like how Prabhuji says, it's the physical level or the Adi Bhautika.
So what happens is, to help our mind understand, various stories are created by different masters to help us understand.
Yeah.
So, but what we end up doing is we end up imagining it to be a physical place. At a subtle level, at a subtler level, at a mind level. See, mind is something that you cannot see. At a mind level, yes, there is a place called heaven, which is when the mind is very peaceful. Yes, there is a place called hell when the mind is utterly disturbed. So it is there, definitely. But realize that you have the power to modify. So don't start looking for a physical place. Of course, physical places also tend to be like how our mind is. If our mind is peaceful, nice, in and around us, we keep it nice and neat, and we help others around us. If our mind is disturbed, we cause disturbance in the physical place also. So yes, we create a heaven or a hell physically also, but it all begins from within us. Nice, Namit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And is Atish ready to share?
No, sir.
Not yet. Okay. How about Sahasra or Anvi? Can you share what you understood from today's discussion?
Sir, I still need to think.
Sorry, Sahasra, what did you say?
I still need to think a little more.
All right. How about Anvi? Has Anvi anything to share? Okay, we are not able to hear Anvi. Let's hear to Manya.
So in this shloka, we learn that how we could actually get closer to Lord Krishna, because the way we think of Lord Krishna, like blue like a blue complexion, and then he has a peacock feather, but we won't find him in that form anywhere around us. So sometimes we might wonder, how do we give a service to Lord Krishna, because we can't really see him. We know he's everywhere, but how do we actually give him, how do we actually do some service to him? So we know that he is in each one of us. So that's where the Panchama Yajna comes. So we can do our service to Lord Krishna in different forms. Like we can do our service by doing something related to devotional things, like doing japa, and then praying to God and bhajans, reciting shloka, all of them. And then we can help elders. We can help people who are physically a little bit, they're challenged a little bit, so we can help them. We can help all the other people in need. But it's not only about human beings, but it's also about animals, small insects, birds, because Lord Krishna also stays in all of them. So when we help different living organisms, we are actually helping Lord, not really helping Lord Krishna, but we are doing our service to Lord Krishna. And that's how we become closer to Lord Krishna. And if Lord Krishna, when he's happy with us doing all these good things as children, like how our parents give us some chocolates or some gifts in return for good marks, the same way for all our good karmas, Lord Krishna keeps good karma points, and as soon as we keep reaching those levels, Lord Krishna gifts us with some knowledge, the jnana related to life and who I am. He gives us that knowledge, using which we can get closer to his transcendental form also.
Excellent. Very nice. Very well put.
Thank you,
So,
Vijayji.
the good karma points translate into making the mind pure, and that's where you'll realize when the mind is silent, then is where the presence of the divine is. Very nice, very well put. All right, is there anyone else who would like to share? How about Rohan? What did Rohan understand from all today's discussion?
Sir, I didn't understand.
You did not understand. So what is that you did not understand from today's discussion? Can you ask a question?
Sir. I did not understand the shloka.
You did not understand the shloka. All right. So let me put it this way. Whatever you're doing, Rohan, whether let's say it's writing your notebook, or whether it's eating the food, or let's say it's giving water to your amma, or let's say you're putting some water to plants, whatever you're doing, do it with the feeling that you are serving Lord Krishna only in different forms. Plant, in the plant is Krishna. In your mother is Krishna. In the food you're eating is Krishna. So whatever you're doing, do it with 100% dedication. When you're doing puja, you'll get cleaned up. You'll do it with full involvement, no? Like that, do with full involvement.
Sir, I understood a little bit.
Tell now.
Like if we are helping other people, we will, it's service to Krishna.
It is service to Krishna. And like Manya said, in return for the service you're doing, you will be blessed with true knowledge that will
Yes,
never
sir.
go away from you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir, I understood.
Excellent. Very nice, Rohan. All right. Then let us end the contemplation of this shloka today.